Hi everyone, this is your instructor, Professor Purwar. Welcome once again to Engineering Dynamics class. So the very first thing that we would like to answer is the question of why study engineering dynamics. So let's write that down. Why study engineering dynamics? So from a curriculum point of view, you're studying engineering dynamics because you've taken engineering statics before, and now you need to take dynamics before you can take more advanced level classes like kinematics of machinery, as well as do senior design. And in between, there are quite a few classes where you will need to use engineering dynamics, not necessarily the core classes, but maybe some electives like vibrations class. So where does engineering dynamics really fit in our department, in our curriculum? Well, some of you may have heard of this subject called engineering mechanics. Now, what is engineering mechanics? Engineering mechanics is this very broad subject area which covers many of the mechanical engineering classes, and engineering dynamics is just one of them. So, there are three primary things in engineering mechanics: forces, motion, and deformation. So when you took a studies class, you were basically concerned just with the forces, and that includes moments as well. So maybe I can add moments here. So you're just dealing with the forces. So things were more or less resting, they were in equilibrium, and you could apply balance of forces, balance of moment to compute for unknown quantities, which were other kinds of forces or moments. So in engineering statics, you just dealt with forces or the moments applied on structures or machines. In engineering dynamics, now you bring forces, moments, and motion together. So you're interested in studying the motion of objects, and you're interested in studying what is the relationship between the motion and the forces. Now, when you take a strength of materials class, which is also called in solid mechanics or mechanics of solid class in some other schools, you will bring forces, motion, and deformation together. Motion part would be slightly less important, but the forces and the deformation would be more important in strength of materials, or let me call it solid mechanics class. Okay, now we're dealing with the solids over here, and that's why we call it solid mechanics. And engineering dynamics also, most of the time we are dealing with solids, although you will find some discussion of the fluids as well in engineering dynamics subject. The next question we want to answer is, why do we want to study dynamics from a technical point of view? Not because it's part of the curriculum and you have to take this class. So we're interested in studying forces, we're interested in studying the motion and the relationship. We're interested in motions because we want to be able to predict where something might be after a certain amount of time. So for example, if I have an object and this object is traveling and it is over here at some time instant t, we want to know where this would be at, let's say, at time t plus delta t. So the things like what the velocity is, what the acceleration is, and what the displacement is would tell you where an object might be at a certain point of time. You're also interested in understanding how the forces give rise to the motion, because if, let's say, you want to make something move, and this is the object that you want to move, and you want to know that this object should have a certain acceleration or a certain velocity, what kind of force should be applied on this object so that it can have that motion. So you're interested in the forces and the motion from that point of view as well. At the same time, you also want to know if an object has a certain motion, what kind of forces can result from that motion. So if this object went ahead and at some point it crashed against the wall, what would be the forces that this object would experience as a result of the change in momentum. And that's what really engineering dynamics is about.